What's up, gang? How you guys doing? It is freezing outside. It's not freezing yet, but it's a little cold out there, so kind of changed the venue a little bit and brought it downstairs to the wine room, and I'm just gonna hang out here, do my podcast here, and that's gonna be it for today. That's what I'm gonna do. It's not even a long podcast. You know, I got the writing outside, I'm shivering, and man, I guess I'm really a summertime guy. So we're gonna get this podcast started for today, and we'll see where it goes. And it's an epic day, you know. It's an epic time of year, and I think that everybody should be paying attention to this time of year and these moments today. And that's what I'm gonna talk about. So let me come queue up on Spotify, and we're gonna get this thing started. All right. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing? It is Lieutenant Sound Blue, 28-year law enforcement veteran and the author of the top 25 mistakes en route to the good life, coming at you today with my daily podcast. That's right. And before I get to the podcast, guys, I just want to tell you guys, man, as I'm going through my book, I reread it at least once a week. I go through it. Just some of the ideas I was thinking during this time of my life, man. Really essential to not making mistakes in your life, right? I wrote this book during the pandemic, and I was truly at home, and I was focused each and every day. And during that time, even though tons of things were worrying me and bothering me, what I realized was that the more I focused down on what was important to me, the more I made progress in writing my book. And as everything has opened back up to this day now, as I'm working on my third book actually, working on my third book. Don't know the name of it yet, but it's definitely going to be about some of the mistakes I made in my life. It may be an ultimate manifesto of more than 25. I don't know. 25 seemed like a magic number for me, but anyway, as I go further into this venture and everything's opened back up and so many things are going on, guys, I find it so much harder to focus and concentrate, right? So much harder to focus and concentrate because there's just so many things that I feel that I need to catch up on, so many things that I missed out on, so many things, shiny objects as we like to say, all over. Now that the whole world is starting to open back up and things are starting to happen. But in saying that, guys, I just want to say this, right? Today's podcast is not about me writing books, or not about the shiny objects, and not about being focused. Today is about you. That's right. Today is about you, and I'm going to ask you one question, and hopefully you guys can give me a solid answer to that one question. So my question to you is, did you vote today? That's right. Did you vote today? For all of you who don't know, who are just seeing this podcast, and it is live, it is about 8:30 at night, so the polls have already closed. Today's election day, right? And it's not a presidential election, so I know you guys are ripping and running, screaming crazy, going on vote. But I'm going to tell you how important today is. Today is important, just as important as you saving a dime over saving a dollar, right? And I'll explain that to you real quick. If you take as much care of a dime as you do a dollar, you will be able to amass a fortune. And I'm not talking about being stingy with it. I'm talking about circulating it properly in your life. You'll be able to amass a fortune in your life because you have given great care to the detail. And so people who voted today, right, other than the people who are just political enthusiasts, right, most people didn't vote today. Most people, the turnout is very poor today, right? The media doesn't push today as hard as they push all these other days with the national presidential election. They don't push it as hard, right? But I'm telling you that because they don't push it as hard is the reason why I made sure I got my entire family up today to vote. Got them up, let's go to vote. It's early, I'm off today, let's do it, right? And we got up, we got out there and we voted, you know. Now me and my wife got out and voted earlier. My daughters voted a little later. You know, me and my wife were up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so as soon as the tolls opened, we were there. And my daughters get up a little later, so but they still made it, and so I'm proud of them, and that was very, very important. But the question of did you vote today is more of a paying attention to detail type question for you, because you may have known it was election day, but how many of you out there gave some serious attention to all of the people that were running for your office? You know, this is a local election day, right? So not all states are voting for governor, right? But I'll tell you what, it's a lot of district judges and a lot of people's opinions and tons of things that are going on that you need to pay attention to, guys. So, right? So today, I got up early. I got up early with my family and I exercised my right to vote, guys. And like I tell you guys before, relax, right? Relax. This is not a political agenda podcast. That's not what I'm into, right? I'm not into politics like that. So I'm not pushing a political agenda. I could care less who you voted for. That doesn't matter to me in the least, right? What does matter to me, right, is that you guys did your homework. You did your homework and you studied your candidates, right? And you didn't just study your candidates based on the commercials you saw on television, right? You literally looked back and looked at the law books and seen what things they backed and seen what things they passed, so that you can have a clear understanding of who you're putting in office, who you're putting in charge, right? Unlike so many people, guys, that I've seen in the past, I actually did my homework. I actually read about the candidates, right? I read about what they supported. I read about who they supported. Okay, and not just who they supported in the presidential election, which is something that everybody sees all the time. I want to know who they supported as far as the laws that were made in my local town, in my local government. So these things are important, guys, and when you begin to pay attention to these small details, these are things that make your life overall better, right? Paying attention to small details. Now, I know this may be some hard work to some people, right? But believe me, it is worth the effort. Putting in the effort, right, to see who you are going to elect, right, is very, very important to your life. I mean, if you plan on living in that town, if you plan on living in that area, I suggest that you begin to exercise this habit of doing the study of the people who are going to best represent your community. And the reason why you need to do a study is because, guys, listen, this will influence your life in things that you have no idea about right now. Little subtle things that will change the quality of your life overall. And a lot of you guys will be worried about the result as opposed to what caused it. So I'm telling you that when you pay close attention, you will understand what caused different things in your community and things that happen that you have no idea what happened. Oh, I have no idea how this happened. I had no idea how this person was discriminated against. I have no idea how this person was treated that way. I have no idea why the police are pulling everybody over and giving all these 2-mile-an-hour over the traffic limit tickets, right? And that all comes from, guys, paying close attention to who you're voting for, paying close attention to your elected officials. This is important, guys, okay? Because only through that will you be allowed to make a change, and also only through that will you learn the habit of exercising your brain to do homework, the hard work, guys. And I think this is important because it determines how your life is going to turn out, right? Your leadership helps to determine how your life is going to turn out, right? So now, and I'm going to get back to my little notes I have here, guys. Now, as I told people, at first, this may seem like a lot of work, but over time, knowing the people who are in charge helps you to determine who is going to affect your life in the long term, right? And I tell people, 4 years is a long-term office, and they have certain things over here. They have constables and stuff like that. They get a 6-year term, right? And so they have judges. Most of them run unopposed, right? And they have to be elected in order for you to decide whether they're going to do another term or not, right? So you need to be paying attention to that too, right? It's a yes or no question. Are they beneficial to your local area, or are they not beneficial to your local area? And you have to pay close attention to that. You never know what circumstances you may get caught up in, and that same judge that you voted to stay on the bench may be the same judge that determines your fate. So pay close attention to that, guys. Now, during my 28 years of law enforcement, right, which is most of my career, I had no choice when it came to someone who was in charge of me, right? As you go into law enforcement, if any of you guys know, same as the military, you come up the ranks, right? And as you come up the ranks in any type of military organization, there's always someone ahead of you, right? In the beginning, it may be a platoon leader, and it may go to corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, major, captain, chief, warden, administrator, so on and so forth, guys. During my career in law enforcement, it was several ranks of people ahead of me. And so I didn't always have the ability to choose that, right? But one thing that I want you guys to understand, right, is throughout my career, I made sure that I was very, very discriminatory. Not the who I listened to, because an order is an order and I had to follow orders, but whose work ethic I would absorb, right? Or who would I try to be close to at the rank above me? Whose decisions I paid close attention to. Listen, I paid close attention to all decisions that were made around me, and I started to notice, right, that some people made the lazy choice, which usually got a bunch of people in trouble, and it was usually the people below them. And then other people made the intelligent, hard-working choices. And those were the people who I wanted to emulate throughout my career, guys. And I had to pay close attention. I had to do my homework, right? When you were doing your homework about people, especially people who are in charge of you, or people who are in a position of management that are above you, when you're doing your homework about these people, you have to pay attention to their habits and the things they do, because the things they do, if you're any type of ambitious type person, when you rise to your ranks and you get better, you're going to begin to emulate them and make the same mistakes that they made, or make the same poor decisions they made, if you're not truly evaluating the people who are in charge of you. So you gotta always be paying attention to who's in charge of you and the decisions that they make and their work ethic. You gotta pay attention to all of that, man. Make sure that you're not jumping behind somebody who is mentally lazy, because that will cause you all types of problems, right? Now, that's how it goes. That's how it goes in my career, right? It's always somebody to answer to. So because of that, right, I set aside three rules that I go by in my career, and I believe that this can help you in your life, guys. This can help you in your life in a dramatic way, right? So my 3 rules go as such, right? The first rule that I go by is to know my job so well that there is very little needed to be said to me to get my job done. Right? Now understand this. You get a job, and in the beginning, right, that first year, you're really working hard to do the most of your job, right? Really working hard to learn as much as you can when it comes to your job or your career, something you have dedicated your life to, right? So you get what you feel is comfortable in doing your job. Now, most people, that's when they begin to back off, right? They get comfortable with their job, but they realize that in order to get better, they have to undergo some more pain and some more heartache, right? So they begin to back off. They back off the throttle so that they are just good enough to get the job done, but not working too hard to make themselves feel uncomfortable and feel the pain of becoming more each day, doing more each day, right? Now, this can fall into a couple of areas, but in order to save some time, I just want to tell you guys that the two areas that I've paid attention to most that it falls into is number one, right? They're inherently lazy and they just want to get a paycheck, and so they did what it required to get a paycheck, right? And they will continue to do what it requires to get a paycheck and no more. And the second thing is, they are totally, completely afraid of what people will say to them because they're working extra hard to do so much more than everybody else. Okay, that's the two things that I mostly see, and I've seen throughout my 28-year career in law enforcement. Those two things have affected people's efforts to become more and do more the most. So understand that, guys. And that is the first rule that I go by. To do my job so well that there's little to be needed to be said to me. The second thing is, right, to work so hard at my craft that I can rise in rank, right? So master my craft, right? Master studying so that I can rise in rank so that I have fewer incompetent people to answer to. Now, I hope you guys understand that, right? When you start off in an organization, whether it's in paramilitary organization, military organization, or corporate world, right? When you start, you're not the boss, right? Unless you started your own business, right? So you started at a certain level, and certain people are telling you what to do, right? Some are very incompetent, some are very competent, right? Some you learn over time, at least after a year when you truly understand your job, you understand what certain people are doing, to get by, and what certain people are doing, to excel in their job, right? So you already know these things, so you get to pay close attention to them. And that is why it's so important to study people, right? Study people who you work for, study people who work around you, study people who eventually work below you if you're ambitious enough, guys. But the most important thing is to master your craft so you can rise in the ranks so that there's less incompetent people that you have to answer to. Listen, when you're at the bottom, there's so many chiefs, right, and not enough Indians. But if you continue to rise in the ranks, right, and I became lieutenant commander, and at those ranks, there were very few. There were very few at those ranks. Even though it's still tons of red tape above me, guys, tons of red tape above me, it was a lot fewer people above me incompetent that I needed to answer to. So, and being that I shaped and molded myself and my career behind competent people, I was able to make a lot better decisions throughout the remaining part of my career. So understand that, guys, as you move forward, as you go up the ranks, right? Master your craft. And master your craft and master people who are mastering their craft, who are in charge of you, so that you can rise up the ranks and do your job just as efficiently as they did at their level. So that is the second rule, guys, to master your craft. The third rule that I go by, guys, is make sure you identify the incompetent ones so that their mental, lazy work ethics do not affect your hardworking, passionate, and focused efforts. Don't commingle the two, guys. Don't commingle the two. Laziness, okay, especially mental laziness, does not mix well with focus. Period. It doesn't mix well with focus, guys. Okay, so there you go, man. Don't mix the two. Identify the incompetent ones, okay, and make haste quickly away from them, or rise in ranks as fast as you can so that the incompetent ones can be below you so you can set them straight at your level of wherever you're at in your job. So pay attention to that. That is extremely, extremely important, guys. Also, with those three rules in place, guys, it has helped me to rise in my career and have very little friction when it came to mastering my craft and enjoying my job, right? And finding the right people to work with in order to make positive change in my career. And so if you want to do well in your job, your career, or if you're running your own business, right, you obviously have to know people, because you have to learn to identify people who are going to be the workers, right, and people who are not going to be the workers, the incompetent ones. The incompetent ones in business, man, fire them quickly, right? Fire them quickly. I always tell people, hire slow, fire fast, right? Hire slow, fire fast. So understand that, guys. But it is these three things that allowed me to master my craft at all levels throughout my career, right? And the same reason I strive to become more and more each day, long after I retire in my years of law enforcement, guys. And I want to tell you guys that that became a habit in my life, right? And a habit that is very hard to break, right? And so I am so glad that it's a hard habit to break, because many habits are hard to break, guys. And most of the time, it is the bad habits that are tearing your life down that you can't shake. And this is one of the habits, guys, that you know, a lot of people look at me and they say, you know, they may call me judgy or judgmental, but I am at a level in my life where I need to be blunt. I need to stay focused on what I'm doing, and I need to identify people who are not going to help me move forward, who are not going to help me help others move forward, and who may actually literally slow me down in having a better life, guys. So make sure you understand these type of people. Make sure you identify them, right? And make sure you guys get out there and vote when it matters, man. Get out there and vote when it matters, but not just get out there and vote when it matters, man, but do your homework. Do your homework, and make sure that you understand the people that you are putting in charge of your life, of your family's life, of your community, of your children's schools, of your financial businesses, your banks, right? Your whole area. Pay attention, close attention, man. Your police department, everything. So that's it for today, man. This is Lieutenant Sal Blue. Make sure you guys hop on over to lieutenantsalblue.com. Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks. Make sure you guys hop on over to lieutenantsalblue.com and pick up your copy of my book, Top 25 Mistakes en Route to the Good Life. I am giving it away for free, so you just pay shipping. Hop on over there. I have a order form bump that you guys can get my audiobook as well. And also, guys, right, shoot me a direct message in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, all the social media platforms that you can find out there at lieutenantsalblue.com, and let me know what to talk about for tomorrow's podcast. All right, I would enjoy your input. So that's it, man. I'm gonna wrap it up for today, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a fantastic night. All right, deuces.